start your business to go to another level. You must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Testing Results, yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Toni Harris Taylor. Testing Results, oh yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Yeah, yeah.
Hey there, Toni Harris Taylor here with another amazing author, Mrs. Jen Hughes Hernandez, who is going to talk about leading loud and leaving a legacy. So, welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
Awesome. In your own words, tell everybody the plethora of things that you do, who you are, and what you do.
So, first, I'm a wife and a mom. I'm a wife of 28 years to Fernando. It'll be 28 years this year. And I know to the same guy.
I know.
And mom to Diego and Pablo. So they are now almost 20 and 15. So
Yeah.
I'm in
And your
I'm in that.
daughter to Mr. Hughes. I met
I'm
Mr.
daughter
Hughes
to Mr. Greg Hughes. Yep. My dad,
and
my mom,
sister to Kenny.
sister to Kenny. Uh, Kenny and I have worked together for 22 years.
That's amazing.
I know we can talk later how we've done it. It's part of the leadership lessons because,
Okay.
he's been my biggest fan and biggest critic. And I've been a mortgage loan officer for 30 years.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
help I help homeowners with the exciting purchase of their dream home. I help
Yeah.
finance people's dreams. So it's been just amazing.
So you've evolved though. You're now an author, a speaker, TEDx speaker. Come on, girl.
Yes, I
Coach.
know.
Come on,
Okay, don't
girl.
stop there. So yeah, as I've evolved, I think it's just the kind of the latter phase of a career. Uh, I did write a book in 2023 called Big Hug, Big Kiss, and I was on the TEDx stage in 2024. I also am a coach. So for 10 years, from 2012 to 2022, I worked for a company that coaches top producing loan officers. It was very real estate specific. And I was in their program as a student, and then they said, "Hey, will you be one of our coaches?" And I said, "Sure." So that became a part-time job. So I did that for a decade and coached over 230 amazing top producing loan officers in our country. So that just helped me expand my friendships all over the USA. Actually, international too. I've got a couple in Canada. So
Wow. Wow. And then
yeah.
now you're teaching people how to love their business or create a business that loves them back.
Yes. So it's newer, but I thought, how can I become more present in helping people? How can I help the younger generation? And not even younger, it can be anybody, right? But you start thinking when you're at the tail end of things, after a 30-year career, you start thinking differently. I don't know if everybody does, but I did, of, what do I want to leave as a message? What kind of message do I want my kids to remember about me and their kids and or the younger generation now, the Gen Zers? And so I did, fun for me. Coaching is fun for me. I love to see people grow. It just brings me so much joy to see people get into whatever their superpower is. So I have developed this just theme of, you can call it a course. I could do one-on-one. I could talk to a big group of people about how to build a simple business that you love and that loves you back, because that's what I've done. So I'm going to teach what I know, and that's what that is.
Well, as we continue this conversation, I know you're going to uncover a lot of those lessons that you've learned along the way that you're going to teach as well. So let's go all the way back. And I know your story well, but the audience doesn't. So, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur? And how has this journey shaped the leader you are today?
So I fell into mortgage by accident. So I had gone to Texas A&M University. I studied economics. I did a study abroad for a year. I was a marketing intern for 3 semesters for a steel company, because that's just where I ended up, right? I
Mhm, mhm.
was marketing for them. And I really had always dreams of being this international businesswoman or an attorney like my pop. My mom's dad was a big attorney. So I had these visions of being that person. And I graduated in 1994, and I was not in a hurry to interview for jobs. I was waiting tables still. I waited tables all throughout college. I paid my way 100% through college when you still could do that. Like now, is it even possible? And I was still waiting tables, double shifts, just making the cash. And I just crashed and burned one day in September of 1995. I was like, okay, wait a minute, Jennifer. Like you gotta do something. You cannot do this the rest of your life. Work double shifts, and it just wasn't fun anymore. And so I called a friend that had been bothering me to come work for him. Oh, you'd be a great salesperson. I'm like, mortgage? What? How do you even spell mortgage? I don't even know how to spell the word. There's 2 G's in there. I was like, what are you talking about? It's 100% commission, which is kind of like entrepreneurship, right? When you're 100%
Correct.
commission sales, you have your own business. And I had nowhere else to go. So I was crashing and burning from the restaurant business. And I called him and said, hey, is the offer still open? And he said, yes. I said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow. And I literally started the next day. And it was September 11th of 1995. And that was the
How
day.
drastic is that?
And that, yeah, now that's an even bigger date for different reasons. But
Sure,
uh,
sure.
yeah, that was the first day that I started. I had no idea what I was doing, and I wasn't scared. I've always been very impulsive, I'm just a very quick decision maker. I don't
Yeah.
think that, sometimes it serves me well, and sometimes, I wish I thought
Agreed.
about things more. That's what my husband's for. He overanalyzes. So now that's why we've been married 28 years, I guess. But
Yes.
so now I got one of those. But yeah, I like to make decisions quick. And so I fell in. I said, I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. And it just started. And here we are 30 years later and still
Wow.
going. Yeah. So it was
Wow.
really by accident. I wish I could tell you that I fell into it on purpose, but I didn't. I did not. It was an accident.
So, how does that journey make you a strong leader today?
I think that leaders need to be impulsive. They need to have the big ideas. They need to be courageous. They need to take risk, and they need to surround themselves with people that don't. So I look back, and So my husband is the complete opposite. Like he loves spreadsheets and analytical, and he will think about a thing for 50 hours cumulatively. And I'm just like, oh my God, can we move to the next step? But that's what I love about him, right? So I have him,
Right.
and
Right.
then my brother, who has been my business 22-year wingman at this point, is the same way. He's very, not to a different degree, but he is
Sure.
very methodical. He's very structured. He's very routine. He's very, so I've accidentally or just maybe divine surrounded myself. I'm impulsive, but then I have people that are close to me in my inner circle that keep me in check. And so I
Yeah.
think as a leader, it's very important that you hire people and marry people
Okay.
that are not like you
That's
because
really powerful.
yeah. because that's the mistake. I can't even tell you the number of people that I have hired. I'm unicorn and rainbow. I would hire everybody. And the people that I've hired against the wishes of my team, they'll give me their feedback and they'll be like, "Ooh, Jen, I just don't know if that's a fit." I'm like, "Oh, no, no, it's going to be great, blah, blah, blah." It's never worked out.
Uh,
Never when I've gone against the grain of what their feedback has been. So anyway, I think that really surrounding yourself, and part of the loud leadership is realizing that you can't do it alone and that you have to have different kinds of people. And it becomes this beautiful combination of, everyone's kind of working in unison and
right.
Right.
Well, your origin story is very drastic, right? You just one day called and said, I'm done with this waiting tables. And do you have a commission only position? And you've never
Yeah,
even
it was
been
a
in
mic drop.
sales. That is
Mic
crazy.
drop.
But let's go through the 30 years. Tell us about a moment when you had to take a drastic step to grow as a leader. And what did you learn from that?
So the first, the first 8 years of my career, I was pretty much doing it on my own. And I had an assistant here and there. And I was for a loan officer, I mean, I was pretty successful quickly just by doing the right thing and doing what I said. I was like, doesn't everybody do that? And people were like, no, you're just so different. I was like, because I call people back? Like, how is that? Anyway, so I got pretty far and I was, way into six figures at that point and doing it all on my own, working all kinds of hours. So I would make attempts at getting a team member, an assistant. And I went through assistants like water. Like literally, I was just probably the most horrible leader, just thinking about myself because I just didn't have anyone to teach me. Like I didn't
Sure.
have, I was doing some conferences and I just couldn't think outside of myself, I think at that point. But what turned for me, when I hired Kenny in 2003, Kenny's my brother.
Yeah.
Um, I really learned what it was like. Little did I know that we would be here now, 22 years later, but I started to learn what it was like to have a proper support person. Like I hired the right person by accident. I really brought him because I was desperate. And I said, "Hey, I made him this deal he couldn't refuse." But little did I know he was the perfect person. But then as we added team members, I learned really quickly that I had to change. And I'll tell you, there was a point. So I had there were four assistants at the time. So my team had grown. I think this was 2011-ish or so. And I had these few team members, and we did our first annual team planning. I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this planning. And this is my first time. And I had a mentor that gave me this outline, this agenda. And we went to my health club at the time, and I rented the room. And I was like so excited. And I asked, had a board and we're asking them what they thought, whatever topic it was, like, what do you think we should do? And everyone gave their input. And then I said, okay, well, we're going to do this. And Kenny, my brother, AKA, I could have punched him in the face, said, well, Jen, if you already knew the answer, why did you ask us what we thought? Pin needle drop on the ground. You could hear
Right.
it. I
Right.
was like, that was a gut punch to me. God bless my brother for just telling me the
Having
truth.
the courage.
I mean, he said it in a nice way, but
Yeah.
most, uh, most people that work for you will not tell you the truth. And
Correct.
the good part, I mean, there's some cons about working with a sibling, but a good part is they tell you exactly what you need to hear, whether you want to hear it or not. I mean, he's always saying it in a respectful way most of the time. Um, I really needed to hear that. And so that launched me to this discovery process, like, ooh, my gosh, like I have so far to go. And so I started to look more for leadership type stuff. And so I started pouring into myself more. I was in a that coaching program that I became a coach. This was early on and that I was
Mhm,
just learning. And so you have to really
mhm.
surround yourself with people that with good leaders. And
Sure,
it takes a
sure.
while. Like it doesn't happen overnight.
It does not. But here's what's unique about you as a leader is you took the punch. You took it and you let it make you better. And
Hmm.
the problem is a lot of leaders can't take the feedback and then they turn on the deliverer and then they think it's all about the other people. So kudos to you for recognizing and wanting to be better, right? And doing what it took to be better. So that's awesome. Let's talk about legacy. What legacy are you intentionally building through your business or brand?
So from a very early start in the mortgage business and even before, I mean, just in my life has been do the right thing. Um, and I have really, I mean, from when I was 5 years old, I took a candy. We were at Jumbo Supermarket. I'm a native Houstonian, and I will never
Uh-huh.
Jumbo Supermarket, and I took one of those little Stouffer's candies. You know, they had the racks out because I mean, I was 5. I was like, oh, maybe I was 3. I was young. And I was like, oh, those candies, they're free. I just took a butterscotch and I was in the back car of the car after we were done shopping and I'm chomping on my candy. And my mother looked at me and she said, where did you get that candy? And I said, oh, well, it was out free. I mean, it was there. I mean, I just grabbed it in the supermarket. And she said, little Miss Thing, we are going back into that store and you are going to apologize and you are going to give that back. I couldn't give it back because I was eating it, but I had to pay for it or something, or it was, I think my mom paid for it, but somehow I had to work it off. I can't remember, a long time ago. But that was the first lesson that I learned from my mother, God bless her, that you fess up, you do the right thing, you turn yourself in. And I remember that the manager of the store was, very nice and well, thank you very much, and obviously forgave me because I really didn't do anything malicious, but I still had to do the right thing. So that started
Yeah.
little seed planting from a very, very young age. Um, and just always stuck with me. And so doing the right thing when nobody is looking has
Yeah.
been my motto. And I actually did my TED Talk on that. So I did the
I
TED
was going to
Talk
say that.
in
Yeah.
2024. I was just racking my brain, like, what is the topic going to be? And that's the first one that I did that came to mind. So, and it's in a world where everyone's looking out for themselves, and I get it, but we have to always be truthful and we have to suffer the consequences, and we have to teach our kids that too. Like, am I going to really lie and cover up for you because you missed your whatever homework or whatever? No.
Oh,
Like the little promises that we break or keep or cover up turn into big things later on. I truly, truly believe that. So,
well, you guys are going to have to go to YouTube and um, first of all, she has a fantastic YouTube channel. So go to YouTube and search for her name, but also search for her name with TEDx so that you can see the story that she shared around doing the right thing. And it was one of her first big career stories. So go check that out as well. So, how has leadership impacted your family, your community, and your industry? That's a lot. Family, I
oh,
know a lot about it, but wow, family, community, and your industry. Let's go.
yeah, with my family, I'm a boy mom. And I've I I've really always been just adamant. I really didn't care what grades they made. I really don't. I mean, as long as they're doing their best, and they're the older one is kind of a BC, the younger one is an AB, but that never bothered me. It was you do what you say, you do the work, um, and you do the right thing. And also just showing up if, I finish what I started. So them seeing me as an example as a mom. Now, I've made plenty of mistakes. I don't I don't want to say. I mean, there's things that, oh gosh, was I on my phone too much or answering a call after hours? Or I did the best that I could. But what my boys have gotten now that I'm on the more tail end of them being almost adults is that they see what hard work looks like, they see what dedication looks like. Um, they truly are getting it, and they are polite and gracious human beings. They have good hearts. They say please and thank you, yes, sir, no, sir. Like for me, that's all I really cared
In
about.
today's world, girl, that
They
is
can
huge.
carry on a conversation, and when you leave an interaction with them, like people talk about, like the parents will call me or they pick the kids, when you pick a kids up at a play date or whatever. Oh my, Diego asked me 5 times if he could take the garbage out. Like the parents want the kids back. So I know I'm bragging on my kids, but Fernando and I made sure that we modeled that, and Fernando gets a lot of credit too. He's a great dad, but we always modeled and continue to model as much as we can what we want the boys to be by doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, just at home with family, the answer to the question is, um, being an example to those boys. And I have to admit, Fernando is the disciplinarian, thank goodness, because the unicorn and rainbow person over here, I get to be the cuddler. And, he makes him cry a little bit. He gives him zero chances. And I'm like, why are you so mean? And he says, Jennifer, because I know that they're going to come to you and you're just going to cuddle and it's okay. They're going to be fine.
They're
So
going to
we
be fine,
have
but you need that balance because especially raising men in
You
today's
need that
Hispanic
balance.
men in today's world.
Yes.
Come
I mean,
on.
I am soft and I have to say it's one of the things that I work on and I wish I was stronger for as a leader was a little bit in some areas a little bit more rigid. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, I'm on a scale of, I mean, I'm still always learning, definitely not at the top of the pinnacle of any kind of leadership, but I am a softer leader. I'm a empathetic, compassionate. I'm not a drill sergeant, but I have very high expectations, and that's the way I am at home as well. As soft as I am, like they know, like they know.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And
And so let's talk about your industry because you've done a lot for the real estate industry. So
mm,
how has your leadership impacted the real estate industry?
you know, um, I think I've left my mark. I mean, I've always been in the top. I think I'm probably in the top 10 or 20. I mean, I'm in the top dozen or two loan officer. There's a lot of great loan officers in Houston. Um, and I think that through our relationship, I'm 100% referral, always have been. I pour into the realtors. I'm big about the education. The last 6 or 7 years is when I've really become more committed to the educating the realtors, giving back, leading by example. And so, they see that. And I mean, there's a lot of realtors in Houston, and I definitely don't know all of them, but and I think that loan officers, I have done a good job of keeping up with the evolving times. Like I've evolved as much as I can with the technology because I mean, when I started, we were using carbon paper, 3-tiered copies on stuff. I mean, like fax machines with glossy paper, like payphones, like literally beepers, I mean, the key map books. I mean, so to go from that, so I have done a good job of being a leader in that way of just not being afraid to, we talked about risk taking earlier, taking the risk, just kind of sometimes you got to close your eyes and say, oh my gosh, it's not perfect, but I just have to keep going because if I don't, someone else is going to do it. So I've had some loan officers, stop me at like an event. They'll see me and, oh, Jen, you don't know me, but I passed my loan officer license test because I watched all your videos on your YouTube education channel. I'm like, oh my God, that's so fun. Thank you so much. Like, cool. So I think that I take it for granted, but there are a lot of people in my industry that know who I am and I don't really know them. I wish I did, but I'm glad that I'm leading that shining light for them. Like, hey, I'm like an
Yeah,
older lady in
yeah,
mortgage. Like I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And then I'm just trudging ahead and blowing and going. You just can't look back. You have to just keep moving forward. So I think I do that really well of just not being afraid to try new things and take some risk and it may not work out. Then you stop doing it. So
yeah. Well, I do know that people admire you in the industry. I remember when you first started coaching with me, a realtor in my network said, "Oh, she's fabulous. She's got YouTube channel and she does multi millions of dollars a year." I'm like, "Why she hire me?" I literally said, "Why did she hire me?" And what it showed me though is that you still always want to learn, no matter and a great leader always wants to learn and they recognize where they're weak and
yeah.
they hire to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
I needed you so bad. I didn't even know it. I was like, oh my gosh, and it's been a blessing ever since. So,
so let's talk about this. So, was there a time where you wanted to give up and what kept you going?
um, you know, I didn't want to, yes and no. Uh, in 2008, which was the
Mm,
mortgage meltdown, around that time, I was making less money. Everybody was. And I didn't stop spending money the way I spent money. And so I started to accumulate debt. And I mean, I really dug myself kind of in a hole. And I never, ever in my mind thought to quit, not ever. And I just kept digging deeper and I found community. I found what I just said, I'm just going to keep searching to find what I need and surround myself with positive things. Um, and it worked. And thank goodness there was a refi boom like six
mhm.
months later and I paid it all off. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But I will say lately, I haven't thought about quitting, but for the first time in the last like 6 to 12 months, I've said, my husband has said to me, Jennifer, I've never heard you say that before. My my roadmap is starting to shift. Like I can see where I can, like I don't know, I think a few more years, I think I have the energy to do one more interest rate boom. Like it's coming probably in the next 3 years. So now I'm more excited about mentoring people. Like I have one
Mm,
gal on my team who, Lauren, she's amazing. And I want to get just a couple more, not too many. And I'm more excited than ever about really mentoring those people so that I can step to the side and still be present, but not
sure,
100%,
sure.
and go and do more talking. I love to do the presentations and build the business you love and coach the realtors on building the business they love. And so they can get more referrals so that we can do more loans, so that they can help more people, so they can, in this age of technology and AI and all these things, I mean, I just, I'm sure someday a bot will be doing mortgages for somebody.
Mm,
However,
mm,
there will always be people that want to deal with a human. And
correct.
those are the people that I'm looking to work with, okay? And so there will always be a place for that. And so I want to keep that going and teach others. So my leadership now is shifting to really wanting to pour into a few. I do not want to pour into 30 people. I just don't. I want to pour into
Okay.
two or three that want to do business the right way, which is, I guess I must say my way. I mean,
Yeah.
I've just, I've developed a formula and a model, and it's just the way to do it. I'm
And it
sorry.
works. It works. And
And so,
so, and you want the ones that want it your way. I get it. I get it.
yeah.
Well, Jennifer, you're just so amazing and confident and humble at the same time. And
Oh,
I really appreciate that. So how do you show up for your team and your network when things get tough? And your clients, your team, your clients, your
I do show vulnerability. You know, I show vulnerability, but I don't I guess I'll give you an example. So the last 3 years in mortgage has been really hard. And, my team is used to doing, 20 loans a month. I mean, there's five of us, I mean, we've got capacity, right?
sure,
And we've
sure,
done maybe like 50% less. So, I mean, it's been a struggle. Like I've struggled financially, I've made less money. But there's a few things that I've kept doing for the team. Like we have a little cash bonus, little envelope program, like little prizes and
sure,
I buy them lunch once a month now on Friday, and it used to be every Friday. So I mean, I don't cut back 100%, but I did have to cut back. But I keep positive for them. And Kenny, my wingman brother, said to me recently, actually just like last week, he says, Jen, I was talking to the team, to the girls, and we're just so impressed that we know that you've had some, stress, right? Some financial stress. And I'm about to be out of it because I'm selling my house. That'll be so fun. Ooh, it's selling. And, um, and he said, we just haven't felt it. Like you've shown up energetic every day. We've got our structure. You're, just doing the best you can. And you haven't ever let us see. I mean, there's a difference like between really letting them see you cave. Like
sure,
you have to guard yourself to a degree
sure,
because otherwise they get scared and they're like, "Oh
sure.
my gosh, is my job in jeopardy or is it?" So I do have a very positive outlook and that's how I keep showing up for them is with positivity. I mean, like I mentioned, I am a unicorn and rainbow kind of person. I will always be that way. And some leaders are not. Some leaders
Sure,
decide to lead with fear. And I
sure.
had one of those leaders before and I left them because I was like doom and gloom. I'm like, I have to hear positive things. So the company that I'm with now, they are very positive. But when it's time to crunch down, you got to crunch down like, hey, we got to meet our numbers or we got to do this. I mean, you still have to be firm and have goals and keep moving forward, but you could still do it in a positive way. So I've done that pretty well. I think that I've done that well. So that's how in tough times and tough times in mortgage is, people not buying houses and you're not
Sure,
getting applications and you're not
sure.
getting new clients and that's a tough time. So and looking for areas to reinvent ourselves or where to dig in. Like, okay, we have a slow week. This is what we're going to do. We're just going to pull out the list and call people or send emails or so just keeping the energy up about that, about banding together. And we write and I learned this from Rapport Leadership. Have you heard of Rapport Leadership? They're
I
in
have not.
Utah or they're in Nevada, and it's a couple of day conference, and I've done three of their programs. Anyway, it's about leadership, and the one thing I took away that I will never forget is about teamwork. You rise together and you fall together, and I have always from their training. I've always kept that with me, and I always repeat that to my team and my kids too. I find that saying to
Sure,
my kids
sure.
and teaching them about teamwork because they're on sports teams and this and that, and oh, it's me and I did my work and my
Yeah.
teammates, and I'm like, hey, baby, you rise together and you fall together. So
Right.
that's been a very important permeating theme that I've held on to that has served me well, that I just keep repeating to myself.
Yep, yep, yep. So tell me about a leadership lesson from rejection or failure.
So I think it was about 10 years ago. So I hired a new assistant or a new team member. I can't remember what her role was going to be. I think it was starting as my personal assistant and then it was going to evolve to something else. And I really, really liked her a lot. And she started, and 60 days later, she just quit on the spot one day. Like there was something I said that rubbed her the wrong way, and she just like left. And I never saw those color, like I had never had any inkling that she was unhappy or like she was always so pleasant and very professional. Like I really, really liked her.
Hmm.
And she did an exit interview with, our company HR, and they gave me feedback that she said she couldn't stand me. And I was like, I just had never had any clue. And so something that happened that day in
Sure,
interaction
sure.
just blew her gasket, okay? And she just quit. And what it taught me was that I didn't ask enough questions when I hired her, and I didn't have enough check-ins on how she was doing. Like in that 60 days, I probably hadn't really had an alone, like, how are you doing? What that taught me was shame on me because one thing I've learned from one of my very best mentors over the years is whether they quit or you have to fire them or it doesn't matter the reason, it is always the leader's fault when someone does not work for you anymore. It's your
Mm,
fault that you didn't do a good enough job at the onset of the hiring, asking enough
mm,
questions. You didn't vet
mm.
good enough. You didn't do enough to be vested in them and pour into them while they were there. Like it really, and that was a true example of that. And the things that I also found it in the exit interview that she didn't like about, I would give away some just little gifts, and I was always
Mhm,
trying to
mhm,
give little free things to the team,
mhm.
like gift cards and they prizes and stuff. She thought that was childish and that we needed to get to work. And I thought, oh my God, like it's just the environment.
Okay, but well, okay, wait.
Girl, we can't judge it. That she is who she is. What
That
I
is, that's right. That's exactly my point. That is who she is. And sometimes we cannot wear other people's issues. Them are her
right, but
issues.
what I didn't do was what I could have done better is at the before she came to work for us, do a better job of explaining the culture of who we were.
Sure,
And that's what
sure,
I didn't, you know, I
sure. I can see that. I
and
can see that.
I probably beat myself up a little bit too much, and it's easy to just say, "Oh, well, she was just, stiff and what." No, she is who she is. And that's to her, we just weren't
Right.
the right team for her, right?
Correct.
And I
Correct.
wasn't the right leader for her. So
Correct.
I
Correct.
then changed to be more transparent and explain more like, hey, this is who we are. I mean, the interview goes both ways. It really does.
Correct.
So it taught me
Correct.
that.
I
And I
like that.
always,
I like that spin on it. Thank you so much. You're
yeah.
exactly right. Um,
So that was
so
a big failure. Like at first I was like, how could she not, of course me, my little ego, how could she not like me? My feelings were, I felt like I was in high school again. But then I thought about it and I thought, we just weren't the right fit for her. And shame on me for not realizing that earlier. And even after the first week or two, to check in with her properly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I
I
mean,
do.
the mistakes I have made,
There's
pain.
some lessons in there for sure. So
And
I will take that.
so let me tell you though, from that, I I went searching through the coaching group I was a part of. So from that experience, I went searching and I was like, okay, guys, I need something to help patch this up. And what someone in the group gave me was a structure that they have, which is a 30-day coaching check-in that you do with every team member for eternity. And it's not a review, it's a check-in. And I have copies, I have a folder for everybody, and I pull out the piece of paper and I do the old school handwrite. And it's got, 6 or 7 questions, and it talks about goals for the next month, like what to work on, what are you keep, start, stop doing, that kind of thing. And I will tell you, it has helped me, it's prompted me to avoid another Tanya, or I don't
Right.
think her name was Tanya. I can't remember what it was. Sorry. It was
Okay.
like
We'll
3 or 4 years
change the
ago.
names, but
Yeah. I
check
mean,
in and
I've been
so,
through a lot of people in 30 years, but I
sure,
can't remember her name. It doesn't matter.
sure.
And she was lovely. She just wasn't, it just
A
wasn't the
good
environment
fit.
for her.
Just
So
wasn't a good fit.
the check-in form I now use to this day religiously every 30 days. It's on the calendar. I meet each team member and really just make sure that they're okay. And it gives you time to just, you're not like fitting it in between loan files and like, oh, hey, let's talk for 5 minutes. No, 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 no. This is like, they know it's coming. Sometimes they want to talk to me about something personal, or they might say something about someone else on the team that they're having an issue with. And it lets me coach them on working it
Sure,
out, or,
sure,
whatever it may be.
sure. Love
And
that.
that has been the number one leadership tactic that I have implemented that has been just really successful. And it was from that experience that I hit bottom, seriously, and just had egg in my face like, Jennifer, how could you have been so blind that she was unhappy? Like, how?
Mm, mm.
So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I have another question. Who has inspired your leadership style, and what qualities from them do you embody? So, who's helped you?
So, my Aunt Marianne is really the person when I was younger. Um, she gave me my first job. I was 12 and I would clean her house every Sunday. And she paid me $40. That was a gold mine for a
It sure was
12-year
back
old
then.
in the 80s, let me tell you. And she did it just so that she called me Jen. And anyway, I consistently showed up. My mom would drop me off, and Aunt Marianne took me home later. 5 or 6 hours later, I got free lunch out of it. I mean, it was, it just taught me
Right.
work ethic, et cetera. And as I got older and, more of a teen, she would bring me along to some of her business dinners. She was a big oil executive. She was the first woman vice president of a major oil corporation because I live in Houston, and that was oil
Mhm.
central back then and still is. And I would watch her with people, and she just, she made people feel at ease. I watched how she was, and her nickname, her trade name, her ID on the Mercantile Exchange. She was the first woman on the board of the Mercantile Exchange, which is
Wow.
huge. And
Yes.
her trade ID was BHBK, Big Hug, Big Kiss. And that's what I named my first book. And, Big Hug, Big Kiss, it, you know, I know it's kind of cheeky and like, oh, big hug, big kiss, but she embraced everybody. She did not judge. She was very open. People felt comfortable approaching her. She was a very good leader. She was tough, but she was soft at the same time. And that's how people knew her. They were just like, big hug, big kiss for everybody, like very warm and friendly. That's how I sense the big hug, big kiss. And I am that way. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize it until really later in life. Like it took me a long time to realize that when I looked back. I probably didn't realize it, but for like the last 3, 4 years, I'll be honest. I was like, that is why I'm that way. And she's not living anymore. And I wish that she was. And I thought, that's how I can pay homage to her is, and just respect her memory is I'm going to write a book
Yeah.
with
I
that
remember
title.
when we talked about it, you brought
And,
that to me.
and I had her
And
trade ID, and the next TED talk that I do, I'm going to wear it.
nice. I
Yeah.
love it.
So big hug, big kiss.
So, on that note, this is the last question. At your funeral, what do you want people to remember about you and the work you've done?
I want people to know that I cared about them. That so there's a three phrase that one of my mentors, Rick Ruby, would always say, and that is show people you care, do the right thing, and do your best. And I think that those three simple things really just encompass so many good human traits. And I want people to know that I love them,
Mm,
that I was just always looking out for others, and that's truly how I feel.
yeah.
And I do think about others sometimes even before myself, because that is myself. Myself is embracing other people um, as much as I can, and
Yeah.
so I just want people to know that, that's where the big hug, big kiss for everybody, no judgment, no, just like, yep, just let's go. Come on.
Love it.
Let's do the,
Love it. Love
yeah.
it. Well, tell everyone how to get in touch with you.
So you can go to my website. It's Jen Hughes Hernandez. And you can get to me there for different things. If you want to talk about a mortgage loan, you can click on that box. If you want me to speak at your event, you can click on that box. So there's a couple things to do there. So Jen, one N, Jen, Hughes Hernandez.com.
Awesome. Well, Jen, you're amazing. I've had you for 2 rounds of coaching. And this is actually our second book that we are doing together.
Yes.
And so you've been a jewel. I've learned a lot from you.
Ditto,
You
lady.
know, and I'm just grateful. And I'm grateful that you're not only my client, but you are my friend. So
Oh,
thank you
thank
so
you. Yes, I
much.
would do anything for you.
Oh. All right, everybody. This is another fabulous author of the Lead Loud Entrepreneurs Building Legacy Through Leadership. My name is Toni Harris Taylor, saying take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow, and we'll see you with the next author.